Hello everybody. I got a bunch of stories today. This one coming from disclosed.tv. We've heard about this for probably better part of 2-3 years. Mandatory DNA database for all Americans could be coming soon. This originally came out of anti-media. And basically the hype is around basically everyone getting registered on a mandatory DNA testing of every citizen, foreign resident, and visitor. And it's basically now law in Kuwait and various other countries that when you come in, you have to get swabbed for this or that. And, you know, this is basically one of the rules. I think Germany, it's already on the books. I almost want to say France, it's completely on the books, but I'm not positive. United Kingdom, I think they're either working on it or have done it. Australia, I believe, is one of them that no doubt has this or will be getting it soon. I'm not sure which. But basically, this is the idea. Violations of this dystopic law carry penalty of a year in prison and a fine of $33,000 for. But falsifying a DNA sample carries a 7-year prison term. I believe this is still talking about Kuwait. If you think this won't come to the U.S., you should carefully consider basically the fact that eventually, since they want a world government, this is what's going to come. Alright, they basically talk here about using it to test for the guys running around in ISIS and whether or not their DNA is matching any of the conflict zones, etc. And basically, the idea is that we're in a state of war, yes, but we have busted terror cell after terror cell and others. And basically, going back to Kuwait, since this is basically about Kuwait, Interior Minister Sheikh Mohammed Khalid Al-Sabah, in a speech before Parliament prior to imprisonment of the law, said all 1.3 million citizens and 2.9 million foreign residents, as well as visitors, will be required to give a DNA sample for the database under the premise of facilitating expediency in criminal investigations. There will be exceptions for those with, as government has termed it, the proper excuse, although there will be no indication what would constitute as such an excuse. Well, I can think of one. Very easily I can think of one. If you are working training foreign troops, your DNA will not be in that database. I almost guarantee it. Whether it's military, whether it's police work, I guarantee it. If you're a foreign dignitary, unless you got residency there, I don't think your DNA is going to be in the system. I mean, this is common information, folks. I mean, I'm not reading this part from anything. This is just common information. So basically, this coming to the United States in 2013, Maryland v. King Supreme Court upheld the constitutionality of warrantless suspicion of DNA collection for all arrestees under Maryland law, whether or not they are ever convicted of a crime. King had his DNA collected and profiled following an arrest for assault. In other words, they profiled him for assault, folks. After the lab forwarded his genetic profile to the FBI to upload into its DNA database, so the FBI does have a DNA database called CODIS, C-O-D-I-S. For a standard procedure after a lab extracts the profile, it was compared to genetic evidence collected in unsolved crimes. As King's assault charge made its way through the courts, CODIS identified a match in an unsolved rape. He was subsequently charged, convicted, and sentenced, all stemming from an otherwise simple arrest. So, Whenever you do it, ask for the paperwork on the CODIS file if you ever get into that kind of situation. Considering there are 28 states, up from 15 in 2009, as well as federal government that collect DNA. This is talking about America now. So was the last two paragraphs. With the arrest King's decision, there is a slippery slope toward ever-expanding warrantless DNA testing that judges throughout the country have predicted and already upon us, as the Electronic Frontier Foundation described it in the brief in King's case. So I'm not going to go through all of this. There's a lot more. You get the idea, folks. This is already here. The FBI has a database called CODIS, CODIS. So the idea that this will one day be mandatory for every citizen and foreign dignitary, sorry about that, is already becoming a vast and popular, ever-expanding system. So it's already here. It just needs to be basically mandated for everyone.